This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's good to see you again. You look nice, and
Oh, thanks, man.
did you change your hair? Did you cut
Yes,
your hair?
yes. I had
Yeah.
long hair for a while, mostly when I was in Scotland doing my acting course, and
Yeah.
a few years after. But
Mhm.
yeah, man, it's just easier, it's
Man,
just
it's been a long time since I saw you. You've been like grinding. Every time I see your post, you're up to something. You're doing your, the whole, how do you call it again? The thing you were doing where you walk with these metal sticks for motion capture. That's really interesting. I've been
yeah,
seeing some of
the
yours.
arm extensions. Yeah,
Yeah. Are you still doing that?
yeah, I'm still doing that. Actually, since we met, I have started with a workshop and
Mhm.
just like I just constructed them myself
Yeah.
and try to do what other people do in the industry, because you have to create your own content. You know you just have to be doing what you love, what you want to, what you want to be in. You already have to do that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's that sort of, how you feel inside, and if it feels right for you and you feel like you're on the right path, you have to keep grinding. And I think with time, it attracts people that want to work with you, and I think that's the best way to go about it, man. But yeah, so tell me, how has it been like you being away from Scotland all this long? How's your adventure back home? What did you get up to? Did you do anything interesting?
Man,
Yeah, tell us.
it's been a big journey. No, I went back. I was here 2018 and 2019. 18, I did my acting course
Yeah.
at Coach Scotland. Then I just stayed here
Mhm.
and tried to get into projects. That's when we did a bunch of music videos together, and
Yeah.
I've done a lot of student films and stuff because when you start, you have nothing. You
Yeah.
have to make a name for yourself. You have to create content. Uh, and so, in the beginning, you're working for free a lot,
Yeah.
but that's when you learn you got to create your own projects, or
Mhm.
something similar that you want to be in,
Yeah. And I
Uh,
think you need to have a great passion as well if you're doing something like that. Because if you don't have passion behind that, you can easily give up and be like, oh, this shit is not working out. Maybe I should not be doing that. But if you're super passionate about it, like, man, like, then you have to keep grinding. It's the same as me, I have to keep, working, shooting movies. I'm now in the studio editing a movie, and now I'm trying to you, but I've got now a comic book out. Like, the
yeah,
grinding has to
man.
keep the passion behind every project that you do, even for yourself, has to be really 120%. So I totally understand uh like what you're talking about, really. So how was that like? Did you miss Scotland when you were away? Would you say?
uh, I gotta say I'm more of a summer person.
Yeah.
And obviously I have all my friends and family in Switzerland,
Yeah.
apart from, because like when I'm here I have a very like good focus
Mhm.
on whatever
Acting.
acting and whatever passions I want to be doing. I have a good focus here, and I'm good working by myself and with people like you, and all my friends here are mostly from the film industry or artists or stuff.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of stuff going on in Scotland at the moment, with film. Now they're shooting like Batgirl or something in Glasgow.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's always something going on here. So it's I think it's a great melting place to be in the UK right now. Like, after the pandemic that hit everybody, like, things were shut for over a year. So it's good to be back and just connecting with friends and everything. Yeah, I just
yeah.
wanted you to tell us how you got into your motion capture thing you do. I don't have a title for it, so you're gonna tell us how they call that. When you wear those things that imitate a chimpanzee, for like what they did in the apes, the Planet of the Apes. you do it really good, man. Like, I've seen some of your videos on Facebook. It's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I always loved just going crazy, and you know, as a kid, I was always the school clown,
Yeah.
you know. So I would just imitate anyone and everything,
Mhm.
and people would feel uncomfortable sometimes,
Yeah.
and I just try to embrace that, you know, because you gotta make people uncomfortable if you're playing a creature. Say
Yeah.
you're in a horror movie, or you're just like, you really have to be fully immersed.
You have
There's
to be
no,
that character.
yeah, I mean, there's different methods of it, right?
Mhm.
Like there's method acting, and there's practical aesthetics, which I learned at ACS.
Mhm.
This more of a practical approach with words, with focusing on the actions rather than becoming something you're not, you know.
Yeah. And I
So
guess
but
being an
with that,
actor,
you just have to be it, you know.
you
You
have to
just
be
have
it.
there's no other way. You just have to feel it.
Yeah. So how is that like being an actor? Do you how what's your sort of like process when you before the director? Obviously now I'm speaking from a perspective of ET, somebody's trying to learn about humans. Like how do you switch from being you as Ophir to just switching up to be an actor and maybe play this emotional scene? Do you sort of how do you sort of switch when the director says action and just sort of focus into a character? How is that process for you?
I mean, it's it's let's say it's a constant game. Like in the beginning when I was learning, um you know, in the acting course,
Yeah,
you learn the scene, you analyze the scene, you analyze the character. Like in every, it's most of the information is in the script, you know,
yeah,
because you will see what your character says, and maybe kind of how he says it, like if you read between the lines. But
mhm,
you also have tons of information, maybe even more, from other characters, because it's about that relationship. It's not just about you and your character, you know, your ego or whatever, even in the scene.
yeah,
It's about the relationship in the scene,
yeah.
you know. So you have a lot of different characters in the script saying how they perceive you. And if that, like in a drama, that could be a conflict, you know.
Mhm.
So you have to, like, you have to see all the details, and then, funny enough, just drop it all and improvise, you know.
That's it.
because
Just
because
understanding the script, and the magic is in the detail, see uh, where the character is trying to go, where he's trying to achieve, and just kind of, go for it. I've always, because obviously I'm always behind the camera, so I'm always fascinated on how you can say like action and an actor just
yeah,
does a performance that just, makes your jaws just drop. You're like, I don't know how people can switch up. But I remember I used to do theater, and my theater teacher used to be like, Etienne, maybe if you're doing an emotional scene, think about something that's happened to you as a kid that was really sad. And then I used to use that as a reference, and then that would help me get into a character that I wanted to play, and it kind of did help me. So just watching you do what you do as well, like, I see you post videos on Facebook, on your Instagram. It's really fascinating to just see you doing that, and the way you just the way you're moving your body, we make your back, and it just really looks like a proper, Japan's. I was like, yo, this guy is doing what they're doing, on the planet of the apes. It's just the same thing. Honestly, it's impressive, man. You should be proud.
yeah, thanks, man. You know, it's like I've gone from acting scenes into more the physical performance, because you have to remember, I'm actually from Switzerland. I grew up, most of my language skills are in German, you
Yeah.
know, a little bit of French, but I forget it often. Whatever, you have to practice that, right? So first you have to learn English, then you're on a quite on a good level, but you know, you come into an acting course, and just like more than half of them are perfect English speakers, smart people, articulate people, very artistic people. And then you have some from France, from Italy, wherever, you know. And then, you know, like we had improv, for example, right?
Yeah.
Improvisation. And I would say my brain is very creative and witty, and I can come up with ideas fast, but translating them into English in the right way is very hard. So it always takes a second, and an improv is just has to be like this, you know.
Yeah, and I think sometimes I think you using the fact that you're from where you're from and you speak these languages and using that to your advantage and embracing who you were, I think even makes you a greater actor, better than different from other actors, obviously, who are fully well spoken. Because obviously, if you obviously read a script and you're not born in an English speaking country, it's going to be different from, you know, other people obviously who come from other countries. So I know what you mean, and I think, you know, there's some movies that I've watched of some actors' history that I know about who never spoke English, but they now moved to Hollywood and now they're doing quite big things and they just became who they are. I mean, like, if you hear the story of Arnold Schwarzenegger and then some actors you probably know, like from The Godfather, you know, I think, yeah, embracing who you are and just, you know, mastering that and being unique to yourself, man, I think it is a great way.
Yeah, I think that's what it's all about, you know. I mean, everyone has a different thing they're
Approach.
trying to learn, and different approach on life and acting, whatever. And everyone has a different journey. Like, say we were stuck together with 20, 15 other people for 1 year. That's your ensemble, you know, and you learn together, and you win together, you lose together, you know. But mostly you play together, you know, because like, doesn't matter win or lose, it's all about the play, you know.
And you had an injury as well.
Huh?
You had an injury from one of your stuff you're doing. You hurt yourself. Are you better now?
Yeah, so that's when everything kind of like started to, I don't know, it's just started to become even bigger, I think.
Yeah.
Because like I remember we were talking back in 2019, even beginning of 2020. Then I went back actually to work for a while in Switzerland, because I do like I used to learn to be an optician.
Yeah.
But then I also worked on construction side as an electrician.
Yeah.
And so I just went to work on construction side. And you know, if I'm working 1 or 2 months for just for money, because it's not my passion, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm passion driven, you know.
Yeah.
So that's okay for me, you know. That's the hustle. You can save up some money, and then you can take that money and that experience, and you invest it in you, in your
craft.
business.
Yes.
In your craft. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've done the same as well with the comic book and my film. You know, I've had to go and hustle and reinvest back, and this is what it takes, man. And you have to know that, okay, I'm here for these 2 months, and I'm gonna make myself better by investing in myself after this sort of like, you know, hustle that you have on the side. And I think that's the best way. So would you think that being in Scotland, how would you rate the film industry in Scotland? Do you think being here has made you just so focus and, you know, stay away and just focus on what you need to do, you know, being around these artistic people with all these projects going on in Scotland, do you think has been beneficial to you?
I mean, the first thing that happened was deciding to come here, right? Like I would assume you have the same kind of like journey where at some point you have to decide what you're going to go for.
Mhm.
And for me, I took a 6 weeks trip to Scotland to check out the acting course, the acting school,
Mhm.
and I also went to I also went to Costa Rica for a more like spiritual approach, and
Yeah.
then I went to back to where I was before, to California, where I learned English. I was there in language school,
Mhm.
traveling with a friend, and I did that in 6 weeks because I was working and I was like, I need to do something. I need to
Yeah.
change my life. I want to go big. I either go travel for half a year, after saving up some money, like a lot of people do, to find themselves or whatever. But then I remembered, I remembered someone tell me it's not about finding yourself; it's about creating yourself.
Yeah.
And that was the start of my journey as a becoming an actor.
So it's not about finding yourself, it's about creating yourself. That's
Yeah,
deep.
because you are already what you are, right? Like
Yeah.
you just born with a certain energy,
Mhm.
you know.
Talent and
And
something within you that is waiting to come out, you know?
yeah, and then also you get shaped by your environment, so it's like an inside thing and an outside thing. And
Mhm.
if you can kind of like, if you're the master of interacting with those two worlds, then you can create whatever you want.
Yeah,
If
man.
you
I like the way you think. I like the way you look at the world and think. A lot of people think that okay, I need to move to this country and then I'm gonna wait for this to come to me. But you're like, I'm gonna make this happen so that I release that energy that makes me who I am, and attract the universe basically to yourself. It's more like when the bean is put in the ground and you have to
Yes,
water it so that
exactly.
it comes up.
Exactly. That's what I was in my head listening to you as well. You got
Yeah.
to plant the seed and you have to have an intention. And if you have bad intentions or good intentions, I mean, who rates that? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Whatever your intention is, and you plant that seed, it will grow if you water it and you give it some sunshine. You just let it blossom. And that happens with, I mean, if we want to go deep, that happens with something that we would judge as bad things too. If you're
Yeah.
constantly thinking bad about yourself, you're putting those seeds into the ground and that will grow as well.
Yeah.
So you
So
have
it's
to be
just
careful what you plant, right? Careful what you wish for.
yeah, I think there's somebody who once said that your mind is the most powerful asset in the world, because your thoughts become you. And it's that constant battle of trying to make sure that your thoughts are clear and try and make sure that maybe your positive thoughts are overweighing the negative thoughts, because we live in a very crazy world and sometimes it's hard to keep thinking positive every day. But if you can try and make sure that your positive thoughts are overweighing what could be, because we all have doubts, we're human beings. But like you said, I really like what you said there, just sort of watering what you decide, what seeds you want to plant and water, and that
Yeah,
will grow
yeah.
out. And yeah, man, I really like your approach. Like, I feel like even when I met you the first time, I didn't know that you looked at the world this way. And the more we chatted, the more we shared some, links and certain things. And I started noticing that you're in the same wavelength like me, and the way I look at the world, which is, it's what you need, man. It's what you need. You gotta grind. You have to believe in yourself and invest in yourself. It's the way forward.
Yeah, it's funny how this might connect to the question that you were asking earlier about my injury and this and that. When I went back to Switzerland, I was very much focused on grinding and just elevating those energies and thoughts to a degree where I started attracting, I mean, all the things that I've been thinking about for 2 years when I was in Scotland in one job like this. And things, I mean, it was like magic for me. It was crazy. I attracted my first motion capture job, and funny enough, in Switzerland, you know, and I was playing a shaman because this was a project about preserving the language of a tribe in Nepal. It's a documentary, a VR documentary that is, you know, the function of using the language will get you further into the story, the documentary. And it was something, you know, like important and real, you know. I was playing a real person, and I was watching some videos, asking some questions, and I was like really able to embody that character like it was that guy, you know, because the lady that was directing, she met him, she interviewed him, and she really felt like, I mean, it sounds a bit crazy, but she really felt like that was the embodiment. Like I was able to,
to become it. It's really interesting. It's really interesting. You know, this is why I could say that we're friends, because we love stories. We like that escape, and I think most of the times you meet people. Like I met you like one time, right? It's not like we knew each other before, but because there's things that we are interested in the same things, and we have the same energy, and you know, and that's kind of kept us, you know, keep in touch. And you know, now you're back in Scotland, and we're here talking about stories, and we are all so excited. You can feel the passion. It's I love it.
Yeah, you know, but then as I was saying, like I was really focused on being like, I was on cloud 9 when I got that job. Because I was also able to portray a bear with my arm extensions, and it was just like one job that just like,
congrats,
and I got paid pretty well as well, you know. And then we were I think it was a couple days, like 5 or 6 days, and then there was like a phase 2 where we would actually capture the footage, because it was more like a test run, because you know, we were trying to find out how we could do it. And then between phase 1 and phase 2, like I was on cloud 9. I was like, what is gonna happen now, you know? And I was able to share my happiness with people, and kind of when they felt bad, I was there, you know, like I could bring them some healing, some motivation, some fire, you know. And then really, I just, before my best friend's wedding, I used my skateboard to go to the hairdresser, and I was just not in a right place. And I fell onto my shoulder, and really my clavicle bone was loose like this. I tore the 3 tendons here on my shoulder, and this is connected to the whole arm. So, you know, I had to get surgery, and funny enough, I was there doing surgery, and for 3 days I was at the hospital. And on the 3rd day I got released. It was my birthday.
Man, I saw your picture you posted. You know, even the pain you were in, you were still sending good vibes out there.
And you know what? On that birthday, I got your comic book. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy?
Oh man, that's crazy. This is
And
now
then
you're gonna get Beats of War too. I'm sending you Beats of War too.
yeah,
I'll send
man.
you one
And
out,
you know what?
Yeah.
That's not all.
Yeah.
On my birthday, there was an email from one of the biggest motion capture jobs studios in London,
Mhm.
asking me if I would be free to come in and do a job
Yeah.
for a client in America.
Mhm.
And I had to say, hey guys,
Not an injury.
it's my birthday, thanks a lot, but I'm completely broken.
Yeah. And I think we always go back in those places, like with that injury, maybe you felt a certain way, but maybe the universe was telling you something. And I think now that you've come out of it, you're much more strong and more focused. And, maybe that wasn't your time. And I think now the fact that you're back and better, you have to just,
Yeah,
and I like the fact that you say that you attract things, because my uncle showed me that DVD of this documentary called The Secret, and I started applying The Secret. I'll tell you of it, like everything I own, everything I do, I imagine. It's insane. It's insane.
yeah. I
It
was
starts off
looking
in my
through
head.
actually this book, like I I I ripped it out now.
Yeah.
But I came here on the first day I got here. I wrote down a bunch of things, like tasks, and I wanted to do them all in one day. And then I realized actually I just did it in like 24 days, and I reached all my goals. I did all I could, and I was a big procrastinator.
Yeah.
It just things take time and the right moment, but they will happen if you can imagine it, and then maybe even write it down
Mhm.
or make a comic book out of it.
Yeah.
Maybe they will happen. Pretty sure they will happen. You
Yeah, and
know?
you know what? Even with my comic books, this is me reimagining my world and the world I want to live in a more science fictional way. These are my movies I want to tell. These are my stories and movies that I want to tell, that I want them to start in the comic book. So all these things I'm imagining, they're starting off on paper. They'll be on the big screen. There'll be a book or something about it in the future. So everything, starts in your head. You just gotta go for it and do it.
You know,
Um,
there's a reason why it's in your head.
yeah, it's
You
it's
know?
like I've got a big head with ideas flying, like Etian, this is it, now go. And I've tried before. I used to do a lot of stuff, but now I've cut down things to storytelling and stories. So film,
Yeah,
comic books, even music. Music is like the one thing that we
yeah,
all
man.
love in our family. It's always gonna be there. But stories. Show me a good film. Tell me a good actor, a good story, a comic book, something that will make my mind escape to somewhere, to another galaxy. I love that, because
Yeah.
for a second you
That's why we do what we do. We're trying to tell the world our story or whatever, like you want to tell them what you feel.
Mhm.
But I could tell you, like when I had my injury, I felt very sad. But
Yeah,
who, you have to be able to explain the whole story to
yeah,
make them feel, something, feel like they can relate,
to you.
you know?
Mhm.
And like something like a comic book like yours, it's very relatable for a lot of people, especially people that never had a story where they could see themselves in it, and when
Yeah,
you started doing that, I followed your story, and I liked the story of you seeing Black Panther for the first time, and
yeah,
you were like, well, I can do this,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know
yeah.
because it started as a comic book.
Mhm.
You always have to think about that. The
Mhm.
movies, they all started on a page first.
First page, and then the rest is history, man. So this podcast, I call it chatcast because it's a video, is me my character in the comic book, understanding what it feels like to be human, and all these things you're telling me about your experiences as an actor, the way you have to be passionate and have to keep going on, you have to dream, you have to imagine things in your head, you have to water these seeds that you're trying to plant. It's a great, information that I already am applying in my real life, but that will help other people out there. So it's really amazing that you're telling me all these things, because it really covers what I really wanted to talk about. But yeah, I just want you, because now you're living in Scotland, right? I want you to give me a challenge of something I need to do, film myself doing it, right? But obviously it's something I need to be able to do. Now, don't tell me to go and jump out of the plane in Dubai. It's something, a challenge.
What? I would come with you, if we can give you that challenge.
Yeah, give me a challenge and I film myself doing it, and then we can add it to the video, but you have to set the challenge here.
Yeah. I was watching one of your podcasts where you were challenged to do things blindly in your room.
Yeah.
I knew that it's gonna be a hard thing.
Yeah, it was hard. Yeah.
And 10 minutes must be really long.
Dude, that was hard, but at least the one I really liked is the one with the tree. My friend Axel, you need to meet Axel. He's from Sweden. We do music together. He's such a nice guy, man. Good heart. He's talked so much about the universe, and the way his whole mindset is exactly the same as the way you think and you approach life. Is really cool. So he told me, Etienne, you should go and hug trees. It feels stupid, but
trees,
yeah. So I hugged 3 trees, and I feel good, because there's some energy get off them, and I didn't know that. So that was a good challenge. I really love that.
I'm into nature a lot as well, and everything can be a metaphor. And so let's say we were talking about planting seeds, right?
Yeah.
So actually you want a challenge that is like what like 5-10 minutes long?
It can be a minute. It can be a minute, 30 seconds. Anything simple that you do, either you want me to do and film myself doing it, but it's something that I've never done. It's my first time doing it. Yeah, it's okay. So I'm learning something that that I don't know.
Okay, yeah. Because I would have some interesting challenges, but they're quite hard to film.
Yeah.
Like talking about nature and the universe.
Yeah.
I've been getting into like the powers of the moon a lot, and the sun, which is like my story when I got injured. I lost my fire because I was just devastated.
Yeah.
I was devastated. And the whole time I was like, what does this mean? And after a while I learned that it was learning to heal yourself.
Yeah.
Not just others, because I just like to help people and try to heal them and take it on me. But then I don't know, that was just a message that I should focus on healing myself, and this time it was like physical, mental, spiritual, all in once. And I had a really enlightening process where I was reborn in a way. And funny enough, I got released on my birthday.
Wow, man, that's inspiring, man. Maybe my challenge could be I learn how to heal myself, and maybe it's inspiring, your story. And I think when you get into an accident like that, you have to be mentally strong, not just physical. There's you need to keep your emotions together, you need to think about the future, and you focus on how tomorrow, like that's what I always do when I'm in a really bad situation. I'm like, this is not going to be forever. Tomorrow is going to be different. The day after tomorrow is going to be different. And when I think about the future and stay optimistic, it helps me punch through. And
yeah, you know, because I think what could be a focus for the challenge is perspectives,
Mhm.
you know, perspectives, because yeah, like you said, this will pass. I think there's a saying like, you know, if you're worried, this will pass.
Yeah.
But then also, if you're on the top of your thing, like I was there, it will pass.
Mhm.
So you have to make sure that you are happy with whatever life brings you, you know.
Mhm.
And that's not just about positivity. It's about embracing the darkness in you, and it's about embracing, you know, you inspired me actually, like getting more into superheroes and thinking about what would your supervillain be, you know. And that could be your challenge, like,
Yeah.
because you got your superhero,
Mhm.
and I feel like it's very much connected to you, to whatever you love, the strengths and weaknesses that you have. But then maybe, you know, instead of going high vibes all the time, because I felt like, you know, that is quite dangerous too.
Mhm.
It's best to be in a balanced state.
Yeah.
And if let me say, you, I don't know, maybe draw could be a draw, could be
Mhm.
a um, drawing it and describing it, you know,
Mhm.
while you draw. It doesn't have to be like super artistic and high quality, you know,
Yeah.
but like the process of thinking about, you know, that darkness.
That
'Cause
darkness. Yeah.
I can say, you know, if you really want to be yourself and embrace what you are, you have to be able to embrace your darkness, and then you are able to turn it into a positive.
Mhm.
You know?
Mhm.
Like I like that sentence, um, transform darkness into light. You
Mhm.
know, and that's what I'm trying to do. If I feel bad, how can I turn this around? You know.
Yeah. And even my comic book Beats of War too sort of goes on the journey of ET. He's being sort of hunted by his past, and he's not really willing to sort of face his past and the sort of conflicts that he's got. He's with his own people, his own family. And I think even that sort of story that I'm telling is sort of me sort of trying to deal with my demons in a way, because really a comic book is like an escape, things that I
Yeah.
cannot do as a superhero in real life, but I can tell stories about them, escaping into the story, but also showing people the other side of me and how I deal with thoughts in my head. Like, for example, if I'm trying to apologize, how have I become a better person now? If I know I'm in the wrong right now, I normally pick up a phone call or send text or an email and be like, I'm sorry, I know I was wrong. You know, and that's how has always been a tough thing for me when I was really younger. But growing up and becoming mature, I realized that Etienne always analyze the situation, you know, think about the conflict and see where you stand. And if you know you're wrong, take all the pride away, you know, and pick
Well,
up
you
the
know,
phone call and deal with it and, you know, have that clear conscience, you know. And when you're talking about the villain of myself, it started making me think about that story and, you know, how, you know, I don't know if you've seen Doctor Strange. There's a story about Doctor Strange in the multiverse gonna come out that shows the Doctor Strange who's like evil, and you've got like the good Doctor Strange trying to fight
oh
him.
my
So
God. I
yeah, that's
mean,
pretty
I
cool.
mean, you're looking at a guy that just came back like 2 days ago from Spider-Man at
Oh,
the cinema.
yeah,
So I know what you're talking about, and spoiler alert.
yeah. No
But I
spoilers.
mean, if you haven't seen the Doctor Strange trailer yet, it's pretty obvious. But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, it's exactly like it's an interesting concept, because if you think about it, like, I mean, ever since I met you And ever since I got more and more into superheroes and super villains, I mean, I
Yeah.
love villains, and it's hard to portray a good villain, like in a movie, writing down a script for a villain.
Yeah.
But the secret, I think, is like, look at Thanos, right?
Mhm.
Thanos has a reason that for him is good,
Yeah.
you know? So the best villains are always like, they wanna make a good thing in the world, like, I mean, even in history, it's crazy, right?
Mhm.
Like, uh, all these people that we consider bad and evil, and I mean, they did horrendous things, but in their mind, they are the superhero, and
Mhm.
whatever their opponent is the villain. And
Yeah.
that is just very enlightening, for just like, just
Always
as a
thinking about
perspective.
it's like
Yeah.
my friend always says that we all have a Joker in us. I don't know
Oh
if you've
my
seen the new
god.
Joker
Oh my
movie.
god. Yeah.
Yeah, we all
I
have
love
the
the
dark
Joker
side.
character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and what you're saying is right, man. Yeah, this conversation that I've had with you has made me reflect on certain things and even give me some really good ideas from a comic book anyway. So,
Mm. That's
and
that's what I like to hear. I
yeah,
like to
and people
inspire
don't know
people.
that, Ophir is gonna appear in Beasts of War, and it's gonna be super surprise. What I mean, it's gonna
Yeah,
be
yeah. And your super villain, he might have, I mean, he probably deserves a big build up, you
yeah.
know?
Mhm.
So, the big challenge is maybe that, because at the end of every big story, you have a big boss fight. It's just like, I don't know, it's just in there in storytelling. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
and you know what? We're gonna revisit this in the future, showing people revealing this story somewhere in Beats of War, and we show that I've done my challenge. Now I need to think about the story, craft it, put it somewhere in Beats of War,
Yeah,
and
yeah, it
bring it
deserves
to life.
time. Yeah.
Mm. I
Yeah, but
appreciate you
maybe,
coming, man. Let's meet up for a drink or something. Go eat some
yeah,
chicken or something. It'll
definitely.
be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you back to acting now, or you're just laying low for
Oh,
now?
so ever since I came back, things are, I mean, I have a lot of time for myself. So I was
Yeah.
editing my show reels,
Mhm.
and planting seeds, really, like planting seeds for the year ahead. And surprisingly enough, I got my first motion capture job in
Mhm.
the UK, in London, for a video game.
That's it. Yo, that's the thing.
That's
You're
it.
putting it in the universe. It's happening. It's happening.
Yeah, man, it's happening. And
I'm super proud of you, man, and I can't wait to work on a movie with you because me too. I'm grinding here in the studio. I'm
yeah,
almost finishing with my first cut of my feature film, but I've got another feature film that I'm writing at the moment that I'm gonna start shooting next year. So it's good that you're around. We're gonna do some really cool stuff.
yeah, even just like being around each other, inspiring each other. Because
Yeah.
I remember, just a post or a message on Instagram, or sending some good vibes. It I don't know. I think it's important, especially in
Ophir, you
these
always
times.
do that. Yes, you always do that. Like sometimes you send me a post and it changes how I feel like this because I just read it.
Yeah,
So
dude,
keep
that's what
bringing
I
the good
do, man.
vibes and I'll keep sending the good vibes too. I appreciate that, man, because honestly, you know what? I'm gonna say this on this video. You need to meet my friend Axel Lewis. You're gonna love their energy. It's like
Nice, nice.
we are on the same vibes, energy, like the things you into, creativity and just to believe in the universe, believing in yourself, investing in yourself, watering your seeds. I think it's the
Yeah,
best
man.
thing. Like, man,
It's all about the vibes, man. It's
yeah, it's
really
all
like,
about vibes.
if you think about it, the vibration, that's what's important. So if we're talking music, and I
Yeah.
listen to a track that you put out, I can feel what vibe you want to share. And if I'm on the same level, obviously we connect much better, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
It's very important. Like when I was injured, I was very vulnerable physically, and like imagine you are more vulnerable to energies as well. You
Yeah.
know, you have to be able to also be able to either block, or you know how in Shang-Chi you can, you know, she takes the energy and she puts it away, right?
Yeah.
That's what you have to do with people that are just not the right vibe for you, you know,
Yeah.
instead of fighting them,
Yeah. I
because
mean,
it's just too much effort.
you gotta take out the bad apples. You take out the bad apples so they don't affect the good apples. That's the trick, you know what I mean? You do it
Yeah,
the
man.
right way.
And you know, even the bad apples, if you put them in the ground, they will serve as a purpose, you
Yeah.
know?
They always grow up. You know, they sort of become that new thing. So I think, yeah, man, thank you for sending good vibes and coming on the chat with me. Really.
Yeah, that was nice.
And I think that, you know, even when you chat to people, there's things you learn from them, and there's things they learn from you. And I feel like everybody's now these days stuck on their phones, and you forget what it's like to be humans, what it's like to have a conversation and chat with somebody, go grab something to eat, you know. And with the lockdown, even made it worse. So yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, I appreciate this, man.